and turning it off without having to memorize a 200-hour RPG.
That seems like the case, because I know even looking through like the iOS store, like I'm noticing more that 8-bit stuff. Duck Game is a big thing that I know a lot of friends are into, right? That we're playing over at work hard. So you guys are really kind of riding that wave right now.
Yeah. So from the like pixel aesthetic, something that you see across all platforms, whether we're working on something that's released on mobile or Xbox One, PS4, PC, is they all have kind of the Mega Cat ethos, where couch co-op, local replaying features that are exclusive to each platform, and then I guess we want to try to find a nice term for it, but we try to inject our humor in everything we're doing. So lots of little Easter eggs and details that show anyone who's playing one of the games the tender loving care we put into them.
And a lot of fun, little fun stuff. So I love that you guys, and you spoke to this a little bit, but you guys like actually release some of this stuff on cartridges, for Nintendo, for Sega Genesis, and things like that. So you can dig out your old Nintendo or get one of the new retcons or something, and it's a really kind of that feel.
Yeah, as you take all the challenges with releasing a video game and then make it with really antiquated tech stacks that take 10 times more, with a lot of restrictions, and then add cost of goods, and you get a cartridge-based game. So it's definitely something you do because you love it. And we're very much dedicated to that. It's a big part of like who we are at our core. So every game that we have a retro release for, instead of just re-releasing it with different packaging or porting it, we're doing something that we're kind of branding as an upmake. So I'll give you an example with Coffee Crisis. So the Genesis version and the PC version have the same first 4 fundamental features of an easy to pick up, low barrier to entry, grab the controls, start hitting things, good feedback, same storyline, same characters. The PC one just has some PC-centric features. So when someone plays games on whatever their preferred platform is, it's still familiar, but kind of works to the capacity of, as an example, like Unity. So lots of cool lighting, Unity effects, and things you would expect on the PC platform exist just on the PC port. So because of the size and art limitations being lifted on PC too, there's a few other combos, some really cool effects for punching, defeating, kicking, etc. enemies, and I think it's a good opportunity to bring those games to life while still preserving our basic retro roots.
So really, there's kind of a collectability that, it's kind of a different game on these different platforms, so you kind of want to see those different levels, right?
There's something called game feel. And so game feel a lot of times for a game like Coffee Crisis, like a beat 'em up, it's when you're controlling the character, what it feels like, how the character interacts with its environment, how it feels when you punch an enemy with a canteen of coffee. So it's the controller's haptic feedback. It's the action trail behind the attack. It's the kind of full explosive hit to seeing the alien's head knock back, maybe some alien goo come out of the side, and those are things that are hard to mimic and create on retro platforms. And I haven't seen anybody successfully take something that works explicitly in retro specifications and have a successful launch on new gen platforms. So the upmake thing is our solution to make sure we're giving people a full experience and hopefully encourage them to try it on both platforms.
And that was really awesome because, something like Coffee Crisis, I remember you were telling me through development, like there was hand-drawn art that you were porting over into the bits.
Yeah, our 3 lead artists with Andy and Frank and Harry, we explicitly do hand-drawn art. So it takes a whole lot longer to do hand-drawn animations for every frame, every cell, but the production value in the final product is definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, it's been, a couple of years since we talked here. So, what's kind of any new angles you're taking on that other than the upmake or anything like that? Anything you've learned entrepreneur-wise from MegaCast Studios you want to talk about?
I would say across the entire spectrum of gaming, we decided that a better fit for us is establish the brand quality standard, and instead of investing very deeply into a ton of forever long high-risk projects or a ton of very simple, very shallow projects, we developed our own kind of mega cat categories. So we have one that we determined is heavily emphasizing couch co-op, And that's a great example of that would be log jammers, which I think you saw at Replay FX. So, grab your axe, tighten up your corduroys, and get ready to throw some axes with lumberjacks and zombies. It's very quick, high replay. Anyone who's played log jammers is definitely familiar with that type of genre. But the arcade fantasy sports is something we don't see often enough these days. Mm-hmm. A lot of times whenever you ask people about sports games of the 16-bit era, 8-bit era, Tecmo Bowl, NBA Jam, really very huge recurring fan bases are kind of timeless. So we wanted something that was quick, high action, had an approachable skill level that the more time you put into it, you could see someone who has some level of mastery in it with timing. So Duck Game's a great example of that. They take a really simple concept with very fast gameplay and features.
Oh, you can ignore that.
Yeah, you're good.
we just got some stuff going on in studio here.
So the short, highly replayable couch co-op games, a great example of that is Coffee Crisis and Log Jammers. On the other side, something that's very feature rich and has a much longer dev pipeline and is absolutely 10 times over more expensive and labor intensive to make. That's something like Bite the Bullet, which is our up and coming run and gun and eat game where you can play as kind of 2 iterations of the same character type. So when you're in human form, you have a bevy of guns. You can pick up ammo, modify, upgrade, normal run and gun things. You can think of Earthworm Jim for a visual. And then we have a unique mechanic where you have to constantly eat and stay into a giant muscular zombie form. And when you're in zombie form, nothing can hold you back. Hyper-destructive environments, tons and tons of unique characters that can be punched through with a fist the size of your body.
It reminds me of like GTA. You had to make sure you ate appropriately, right? So
it's kind of like that,
but kind of like on a different level, right?
It was originally conceptualized as the first offspring of a zombie and human kind of marriage, right? Mm-hmm. And then it just spun out of control once we started making muscular zombies. So.
Awesome. Do you have any tips for anybody looking out there trying to get into game development or trying to start their studio like this?
I would say that the easy first task that everyone should start with is shipping a game, going through all the steps, aside from pre-planning to see what it's like going through launching, marketing infrastructure, adhering to whatever your estimates will be. Any dev or artist will tell you that no matter how far into their career they get, it's always hard to predict edge cases and what will pop up. Just releasing a game is the best first thing you can do.
And I want to point out for those that don't know, we actually did 2 previous Awesome Chats with you for at least 2 of your companies.
That's right. Yeah.
So you're a serial entrepreneur, I guess we could label you, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just game development. Like you're handling all kinds of business and technology.
It's really unfair for me to even represent MegaCat because all the talent is not me. It's definitely the great team that we have. But for E360, we're an end-of-life IT assets company. Mm-hmm. So it has a plug or a battery, and it's better for reuse rather than recycling. That's where we come in. And
that really, I love that because I got to visit, and I think you've moved since I visited you last, but it was just this interesting marriage of old technology and then old video games, right next to each other. That was a really cool vibe, I thought, around all that.
There's definitely a little bit of crossover. Mm-hmm. And I think that at the heart of any game collector, there's the ability to collect things is something that's driven that business.
Awesome. So if anybody wants to find out about MegaCat Studios, the latest that you guys got going on, where can they check you out?
MegaCat Studios, just like that. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, megacatstudios.com. Check it out. We have lots of cool things happening in September. This Friday coming up, we'll be at the 21 and over at Carnegie Science Center event. Brutal Beer Fest coming up this weekend. And then all over the place between now and December.
There you go. Look for them around. I love that. I just completely stumble on them at Replay FX. I'm like, hey, I know you guys. Hey. So it's gone. And you guys had a pretty sweet. Oh, we didn't talk about it. You guys have a VR game you're working on too.
Yeah, the VR game is definitely its own kind of a pioneering feel. So VR is pretty new still.
Not so retro.
Yeah, right. Well, we try to maintain some retro qualities, right? So we chose a low poly styling. We tried to make sure that the mechanics had a very like satisfactory feedback loop that anyone can still pick it up and play.
Awesome. Go check that out. It's been really awesome to see these games and see your catalog grow and see the kind of crazy stuff you guys come up with these release packages as well. So go check it out if you're into retro gaming, if you're into video gaming. There's a lot. You're going to find a lot of fun with MegaCat. Check them out. Check out all the rest of the shows over at AwesomeCast.com. All the awesome chats on your local podcast catcher or video or however you'd like to view or partake in the show. And of course, keep an eye out for events as we go live here on Facebook Live and maybe a few other places if some technology works out for us here in the future. So until next time, thank you to my awesome guest. You've been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. Oh, I'm just going to probably... No, I'm going to redo the stream. So we'll be back so I can kind of cut this off and it's its own thing. And we'll be back.